Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where we're 90% goofy and 10% losers.
I mean, not bad in terms of percentage, honestly.
Stat-wise, that's excellent numbers.
Each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course,
the shenanigans.
So, for this very fun episode, we are bringing back a power couple from season 1.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler.
But not the one you think. Instead, we're doing blended.
We are also bringing back a format that we tried out in season 2 with Drive Me Crazy, where we're going in completely blind and completely unprepared.
Yeah, which I think is gonna be fine, because it means we're kind of just feeling goofy today.
It's a little more off the cuff. Although, considering who Jasmine and I are as people, it's still somewhat planned.
Yeah, I'm better off the cuff anyway. Pressure makes me better.
Flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, that little bit of stress hormone is really what makes me funny.
I already have anxiety, so I don't know how I feel about how I perform without time to prepare.
You don't like a good cortisol spike?
Oh goodness, I feel like that's permanently what's happening. There's no spike, it's just consistently high.
Steady stream. Wow, lucky.
I don't know that it's luck.
I know. Weird flex, Jane, but fine.
I know, right?
So we've got this very bizarre film that I'm sure people heard about but didn't bother watching.
For good reason.
Yeah, there's a lot good about this movie and a lot bad.
Yeah. So going in, when we decided that we were going to do it blind, neither of us watched a trailer for this film. And what I knew going in was that it's Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler who are on vacation together.
For some reason, they're on a safari with their families.
I didn't even know that safari was involved.
I just knew that from the picture. The advertisements that I always saw was them in a safari jeep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just like, cool, 2 people brought their families on safari.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goodness. Shall we hit that plot synopsis?
All right. After a disastrous blind date, Jim and Lauren never want to see each other again.
However, to their great surprise and displeasure, they end up on a blended family vacation together in Sun City, South Africa.
Shenanigans ensue!
I was pointed with that plot synopsis and giving Sun City, South Africa.
Right, they didn't really specify Sun City, but...
No, they did say Sun City.
Oh, they did? I missed that.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you look it up?
I looked up the resort, and it looks fire.
It is so much fun, but I will say that this film gave it unfair marketing. So don't expect to do much of what you see them doing, but it's still a fabulous time.
They don't have a 10-foot chocolate fountain, Jane? Why would Hollywood lie to me like that?
How freaking dare they?
I'll never recover. End of episode. Bye.
No, but I also mean other things that people may think are possible, like ostrich rides.
Oh, yeah.
That you don't get in Sun City. You have to go to, like, Ostrich.
Can you actually ride an ostrich?
Yeah, you can.
What?
I'll send you a link.
I thought that was fake.
No. That's very much real, just not in Sanssouci.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't want to ride an ostrich. That's a dinosaur.
I've never done it. It doesn't look like the most comfortable experience, to be honest.
No, and they're rude birds.
What is very cool is that you can stand on their eggs and they don't break.
That is cool.
They can support your weight.
How do you make an omelet if you can't crack the egg?
I mean, you can't crack them. It's just that the force of your weight, how it's distributed on the egg, won't break it like that. But you can eat ostrich eggs. An omelet can feed like 27 people.
How do you get in that bad boy?
Anyway.
I'm stuck on that. I'm like, wait, you can stand on it? How am I supposed to eat it? What?
Back to what I was saying about specifically Sun City, South Africa. It drives me up the wall in movies when it's just like, Africa. I know a lot of people in America do speak like that and speak that way about Europe too, but especially because they were having some of the South Africans also saying like, I'm the greatest man in Africa. What happens in Africa stays in Africa. No one who lives on the African continent actually speaks that way. You'd speak about the country that you are in.
It's an enormous place.
The lack of specificity drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, felt.
It's massive with so many different languages, so many different cultures and foods and geographical regions and music and food and everything. It's such a vast place that's not homogenous at all.
Yeah.
And so including that is the accent. There's this sort of generic African
accent. It's horrendous. And like truly that would not bother 90% of Americans.
No.
I probably wouldn't notice because I don't know enough to
Right.
be upset about it.
Oh, it's grating. It's so horrible.
No, I feel you. When anyone puts a saguaro cactus in a desert that's supposed to be somewhere else, I get upset. So I feel you.
So you can imagine feeling that way when in South Africa alone, there are so many different accents and none of them is this generic African mix that they did in this film, except for like some of the white characters who they gave a bit of an Afrikaner accent. But it was rough.
That's so weird. That's so interesting. Yeah. I don't know why they did that too, because they did appear to film at least some of it in Africa. And I assume South Africa. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, at the resort.
Oh, they are at the resort. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure at the resort.
Because I don't want to assume that they shot it in South Africa because I didn't look this up.
I recognize that hotel.
Yeah, they appear to have shot on location. So why wouldn't you just hire actors that are from there?
At least parts of it. Because, I don't know, we have plenty of them.
I know.
And Sun City is like 2 hours away from Johannesburg, which is a massive metro.
Yeah, for filming and everything.
Yeah, for a big acting industry. So it's really weird.
From the city that brought us District 9. I don't know.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Weird. Very uncanny valley.
I love so much because we went into this not realizing it would be South Africa specifically that they were trying to represent. And so since you are literally there right now as we record,
Hi.
very pleased.
It's just kind of really offensive in many ways. I'm trying to remain like somewhat calm about it because it is also just a film and I know that it's not trying to be an accurate representation. And
Yeah, it's
come
just
on.
generic safari vibes.
Yeah, and it's also giving very much like, oh, look at the natives dance. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, again, that's another one where that could be from anywhere in Africa and an American would be like, yes, Africa. I have no idea.
It's also setting very unrealistic expectations for anyone who watches this film and is like, we should go to Sun City.
Right?
You'll have a fire time, but it's not going to be that.
It's probably very similar to people who watch movies that are set in Hawaii at resorts. Like, you're not
Right.
just going to get an authentic hula luau situation. Like, you're just going to get some weird generic thing most of the time.
Or people who watch movies about New York and are like, I'm going to walk in heels and take a cab everywhere.
Oh my gosh, I watched a movie recently that was supposed to be set in New York City and it was clearly the London Underground. And I was like, that is not the shape of our subway stations. Nope.
Now imagine that multiplied by 1,000 and that's how frustrating it was for me to watch this movie as a South African.
Oh my gosh.
You got one thing right at the end when Terry Crews says yeah boy. I was like, that's a real word from a real language that's actually spoken here.
Wait, what does that mean?
It's like a term of agreement. It's yes, but with more conviction behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I was like, yeah, boy. And that's kind of it.
People will often say like yeah boy yes, which is also just saying yes yes.
But like intense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah boy.
So good. All right. We might as well hit those tropes.
Yeah, I might need your help with this.
Yeah.
Because I could only identify 5.
We've got enemies to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a montage.
Mm-mm.
We have a fake out kiss that is not sexy. It's real sad.
Oh, gut wrenching.
Yeah. We have very intense misunderstandings kind of throughout. Starts with a misunderstanding and it almost ends with a misunderstanding. All right. We've got an excellent best friend.
Yeah.
I would argue that there is a moment or 2 moments of music doing the most.
Yes. But for me, even though this is a trope we made up, I feel like for it to earn the trope overall in the movie, it has to be doing the most throughout and not just like 1 or 2 instances of it.
I hear that. Yes.
From the made up trope.
We have a music doing the most light.
And it was fabulous. My favorite part of the movie, by far.
And then I also would argue, trope-wise, we have what I will call falling in love with someone through their children first.
Yeah.
Which happens in rom-coms sometimes.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
That whole vibe.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I feel like it is a little scant on tropes, and perhaps also since we're doing this all in one day, we're not going to hit them all. But what they do hit can be pretty fun. Like, there is a lot of really great moments in this film,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the biggest downfall is probably the recording schedule. I think they started recording in the wrong place. Honestly, I would be surprised if they didn't literally start recording with the beginning early scenes before they're in Africa, and they probably should have just started the damn thing in Africa to help build chemistry, because it felt like a different movie at the beginning. And then I also think they lost a lot of what could have been a great movie in the edit. They didn't make it tight enough.
No.
They didn't chop down the script enough before they started filming in the first place. It's unfortunately a little too much going on.
It was quite bloated, I feel.
Yeah.
And also, tonally, I feel they were struggling to find their feet.
Yeah.
It felt a bit disjointed. And then even with some of the comedy aspects, there were moments when I laughed. But especially when we were still in the States, the scenes felt like there was so much air in them, in the comedic scenes.
That's what I mean. It's like,
they weren't going quick enough. They weren't picking up, you know?
that's why I think that it was a schedule problem. I think they scheduled the wrong scenes at the wrong times. I feel very strongly that what I felt like I watched was them filming the first part of the movie in the States first. And I felt like they progressively got more and more comfortable and found their comedy and their rhythm as they were going through it. Because I felt like by the time we got to the halfway point, somewhere around the parents helping the opposite person's kids, we started to see them actually have really great chemistry all together. And I think if they had started filming in Africa right away and had that disjointed feel at the beginning of the family vacation and then got more comfortable and then went back and filmed those beginning scenes,
Yeah, it would have helped.
we would have a much better film.
It would be interesting to know.
Because that beginning part was so bad,
Yeah.
energy-wise and chemistry-wise, that I almost didn't want to keep watching.
Same.
And it ends up getting better.
It does.
But it was so bad at the top.
It just felt slow. And I think part of it as well is that it wasn't a tighter script and then it wasn't a tighter edit. Because even in some of the lines when I was like, that's a funny line, but it didn't land.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was your experience for you either.
That's the big reason why I really feel like the beginning was filmed first and it was the mistake, because I was like, Drew said that line and it wasn't funny enough,
Yeah.
and Drew is funny.
Yeah.
That felt like she was pushing, and that didn't feel like a joke, and I don't know why.
It would be interesting to know what their film schedule was like.
Yeah.
There may also have been a lot of time in between when they filmed things. So
That's a possibility. So then you lose the chemistry.
yeah, so even if they started in South Africa, then came back a couple months later even, like, I don't know. that could also account for it.
Yeah. I mean, even if that's the case too, they still bungled it because then what you do is you start with the Joel McHale scenes where he's being a jerk and she's come back from the store. Like, you start there, like, help people get their chemistry back.
Yeah.
Starting at the beginning of the film to start filming because they don't know each other in the film yet and assuming that that'll be okay is the wrong choice. Like, I think that that's the reason why people do that, because you can build the chemistry from there in an organic way, or at least that's what they want to do in theory. But those scenes at the top need to feel so tight or else the audience is out.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there a trip you want to start talking about?
Oh, I like the montage.
It was good, yeah.
It was a fun one.
Are we talking about when they were on the safari?
Ah, yeah. There was a safari montage. They also did a really fun resorts activity montage.
Yes. Yeah. All the things that kids could do. And I was texting Jasmine and we're like, don't expect to do that at Sunset Sea.
Yeah. They really could have leaned in more with montages.
Yeah.
Especially to tighten up the beginning.
It would have helped.
Yeah, I think the character development with the children could have been expedited by a couple little montage moments. But
Yeah.
still, there was a fun use of it for the resort when they did get to South Africa.
The thing with the safari as well was when we see Lauren loosening up a little bit by looking over at Jim, and Jim loosening up about the eldest daughter riding in the van with the teenage boy that she has a crush on. So you see that slowly developing, how they're changing as well. I do agree with you that it would have benefited from a couple extra montages to see the progression of building the relationships.
In a tighter timeline. That's it.
Yes, a tighter timeline would have been lovely.
I do also really love how well the misunderstanding is built in from the very beginning, and we get a slow reveal of just how bad the misunderstanding was.
To be honest, I didn't know how they were going to redeem him choosing that restaurant as a first date venue.
Right?
For a stranger. It's a different thing if you know someone and that they'd be into going to Hooters.
Yeah.
But for a complete stranger?
Or if they know you and they know that you have a personal relationship with the people there because your late wife worked there.
Still arguably not the best choice for a first date.
No, it's not.
Even with all of this.
It's a terrible choice.
But it's redeeming at least.
Yeah, like, this is a comfort zone and I can give a guy a pass for wanting to feel comfortable on a date.
Yeah,
so
especially if it's his first date in 20 years.
Yeah. And it's so funny because looking back on it, I had written down, why
full stop?
Yes. Why are these waitresses so comfortable with him?
Yeah.
And it all makes sense later. They're kind of just actually pitying him a little bit. Like, their tone was weird, and I was like, why is this happening? Dropping the cancer bomb at the table was hilarious.
Oof.
Drew making an absolute mess of herself with the French onion soup was hilarious to me. The line, I got you buffalo shrimp with sauce on the side. They'll do that for me here, was very funny to me. But it was just all very weird, and I'm glad they managed to kind of redeem it by the end.
Yeah. It made sense, at least.
Yeah. Do you have one that you'd like to discuss?
The fake out kiss.
Ooh, yeah.
In brackets, sad. So Jim does a very sweet thing where he arranges for them to have a redo of their first date.
Yeah.
And they're having a moment.
Oh, grand romantic gesture.
Oh, true. Grand romantic gesture. So, because the two of them have sort of hijacked Lauren's friend's romantic getaway with her boyfriend that they end up not going on, she just assumes that the stargazing dinner was also part of that package, but actually Jim had arranged it so that they could have a redo of their date. And in this scene, I feel like we really get to see how good the chemistry is between Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. I mean, it makes sense that they've done 3 rom-coms together. Their chemistry is very good.
I know, and it's honestly fun and playful. And I know that Adam Sandler isn't for everyone, but I do find him pretty funny, and the way that he uses comedy in a lot of rom-com situations or romance situations to kind of break tension feels really authentic to me. So I love those moments that they have, and this was a really nice little scene.
It was sweet. And so they're looking at each other, they're having a moment, they lean in to kiss, and Jim, he says, I'm sorry, I can't do this. It's not you. And There are not many instances where I believe that,
Yeah.
but in this moment I really do, because
Yeah.
it must be so big and so much pressure thinking of both of their kids and his wife and just everything. It must be so much.
Just like you said, it's one of the only places where I'm very okay with him needing more time.
Yeah.
Ooh. We may as well also just hit on that best friend who she stole the vacation from.
She's great.
She's so funny.
What else is she in? I remember her.
I don't know.
But I don't know from what. But yeah, what a doll.
Oh, she's a Reno 911 person.
I don't know what that is.
That'll be a big one here. A lot of people will recognize that. I never watched it, but I do recognize her face now in different ads and things for it. She was so funny. I love the idea that this woman is just a professional closet organizer. Like, she works for the Container Store and literally just organizes closets with her best friend. Kind of obsessed with that.
And they have such a cute little uniform, which is so funny to me because they're just in the closet.
I am not mad at the fact that they're literally working in closets all day. They make
closeted joke.
Yes, the other L word.
Yeah, because they're the closet queens.
I can't. That's a terrible name. They did not think that through, but
No, not at all.
hilarious for a few jokes. So the entire premise is that Jen is supposed to be going on this fancy safari with her new boo and cancels it because she finds out that he has 5 children who were going to come on the safari too. And she's not into it. Like, number one, girl, heard. I get that.
Yeah, fair. In terms of like meeting the kids for the very first time you're going on vacation together.
Yeah, not like that.
I'm not sure where in the States they are, but you're looking at least a 15-hour flight.
Yeah.
You stuck.
And also, I assumed originally that the kids were a little bit older, and they show the kids at the end, and they are young.
They're not teenagers.
Yeah, young enough that this is actually, you're babysitting, you're not on vacation.
Yeah, some of them are toddlers.
That's a lot to ask.
For a first meeting?
A whole vacation?
No.
In a place where there are dangerous animals? That's too much work.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Even just to go on vacation like a 2-hour drive away would be a lot for the first meeting.
For a weekend, even. That would be enough.
That's a bit much. Why don't we start simple with a lunch? Let's just try a lunch and see how we go from there.
Very casual play date.
Yes.
What are we doing here?
A school event. Let's go to a baseball game of one of the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm with her on being reluctant to do that.
Oh, yeah, she shouldn't have broken up with him, and I'm glad she
No.
did get back together with him and gave him another chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not the place to meet the kids.
No.
Also, I find it hilarious that they're saying the L word to each other on the phone. Like, I L word you, I
Yeah.
L word you. Very cute.
And then I'm going to ull you for an hour and a half.
Yes. And then we find out after the fact that she's been saying I love you to this man and doesn't know he has 5 children. She just found out after that.
True.
Girl.
My guy. How does that just not come up?
I have no idea.
If you've been on a couple of dates. Like, surely.
And then if we'd like to gently transition to the shenanigans, we could do the music doing the most light.
Yes. That's my favorite part of the film. And it was tight. I think I was missing things being a little bit tight.
Tight jokes, yeah.
Yeah. So we start with Lauren giving the eldest daughter of Jim a makeover, which I also would have loved to see.
Same.
Like, the reveal's really nice, but I was like, I think I was dying for some more tropes. I would have loved to see a bit of a makeover montage.
They did not have time in this film, though, because they wasted it on other things.
No, yeah. So she's coming down the stairs and she's looking stunning.
Stunning!
Hair extensions are extensioning. The heels are healing. The dress is dressing. She looks beautiful. And the music that starts with is I'm every woman.
It's all in me. So good.
It's so good.
And she's just feeling herself walking down those stairs in slow motion.
Yes.
Girl, work.
Cut to the teenage son of other couple, and the music is I'll make love to you like you want me to.
So fucking funny. So dumb.
And then I don't actually know the song that they play when
Oh,
they
yeah.
cut to Adam Sandler.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's all right. Like, it's literally an apocalypse song.
It's so funny. And what I love
Amazing.
is that they do a callback to it when Lauren puts on the dress that she got into trouble for putting on a client's dress when she was reorganizing her closet. And Jen just steals it for her
Yeah.
and puts it in a beautiful box and packs it in her luggage to take with to South Africa.
Obsessed.
I mean, she looks stunning. Love the LBD.
See, that's the thing too, though, is I actually was kind of mad. It was a perfectly nice dress, but it's not the most flattering dress they could have put her in.
No, the arms are a little bit poofy.
Yeah.
The silhouette was nice.
The silhouette was
there
nice.
was something cuter they could have put her in.
Yeah.
It was proportionally weird. So she's coming down the staircase. We have a whole callback and we have the same songs playing, but obviously attributed to different characters. So Adam Sandler has the I'll make love to you, and her teenage son has the It's the end of the world. And then we cut to another woman and we have I kissed a girl and I liked it.
I forgot they added that one on the second one. That was so funny. And it's like the husband can hear the song playing and like pushes her in the shoulder.
That woman is just thirsty in general.
Love that for her.
'Cause she fully
Took off her hot
handed
pink bra
Terry
later.
Crews her bra.
Okay, so that's what I want to talk about is the cameos.
Yes, so many.
Terry goddamn Crews.
Yeah.
All right. And like dancing and singing his heart out, being a gigantic goofball. Truly delightful.
He must have had so much fun.
Right? In the part where Jim is playing basketball with his daughter and they totally beat the crap out of this father-son duo playing basketball with them, the band that Terry Crews' character is singing with come out singing, "You suck, you suck, you suck, you suck."
So out of pocket.
Over and over and over again. I loved that. Those are my favorite kinds of jokes. And the constantly bringing the song in over and over again.
Blended.
They pigeonholed this entire blended family thing by having him sing a blended song later. Just really dumb. Also, highly appreciate the cameo of Shaquille O'Neal working at the Dick's Sporting Goods with them. What?
Who should be Adam Sandler's best friend, but I guess they couldn't get him for long enough.
Oh, no, you can't afford Shaq. That's the problem. They could only afford 2 scenes. He was on set for half a day.
Oh, man.
So funny. And then, of course, the hilarious and detestable Joel McHale. I don't know if this guy is actually a rotten person in real life or if he's
Right?
just that good at this character.
That's what I was wondering myself.
Because he's so funny. I have to imagine he's actually quite nice. Or maybe he's just a jerk in real life. And
I would
then,
love to know.
right? I find it hard to believe that he would keep getting hired to play a jerk if he was actually a jerk.
He exclusively plays an asshole.
Every time. He even did a cameo in the latest season of The Bear just to be a jerk that lives rent-free in Jeremy Allen White's head. Like, he's just a jerk in everything. They can show his face for 2 seconds and every single person knows,
Yeah.
oh, what an asshole.
Falling role of asshole.
He doesn't even have to say anything.
The thing that was very funny to me was when Lauren is back from vacation and her ex-husband is making the bid for them to get back together.
Mhm.
And he's just like leaning on the kitchen counter flexing. And I can just see him trying so hard not to crack. That was very funny to me.
And I love what they wrote for that too. She's
Yeah.
like, what's going on here? A GQ photo shoot? Get out. That's so funny.
It's just standing there for who knows how long, posing in place, flexing,
Mhm.
hand on chin.
And then there's still a couple of other ones, just like very quickly. Lauren Lapkus, who you'll recognize her face, probably not her name, as the babysitter. She's really funny. There's also Kevin Nealon, very recognizable as well in a lot of different things. And Alexis Arquette makes a cameo, who was
Yeah.
in The Wedding Singer. And it was the shortest, tiniest cameo, and I really loved that.
Playing the same character, probably.
Literally. Love that for her.
Because we also have Tom from 50 First Dates in the pharmacy.
Right, that was really funny.
Whose memory resets every 9 seconds, I think it is, or something. It's been a while since I've watched 50 First Dates. I was like, hey.
Also, not me just realizing that Jen constantly says she's going on dates with Dick. She's going to go on a date with Dick, blah, 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 blah. And he is the Dick from Dick's Sporting Goods. It's literally just connected.
My word. Well, I didn't get that at all, so.
That's so funny. Amazing. See, there's so much to like about this film, and it just really messed up on the edit.
Yeah. Oh, in the first date that goes so badly.
Yes.
The fact that Lauren is in the bathroom talking to the babysitter and saying that she should call in 5 minutes with an excuse because she wants to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But before that can happen, Jim gets a fake emergency call about an avalanche.
You couldn't even make it a little bit believable, which is better anyway.
Something about your 3 daughters, maybe?
Nope. And what's so great, too, is whoever called him, even if they said avalanche, he didn't have to say that out loud.
No. He could have said literally anything else.
Yep.
Do you have a shenanigan?
Oh, I don't know why they decided to do this, but they basically insinuate that this entire resort is where men bring their mistresses that they're going to now marry to bond with their children. Over and over and over again. Every single woman there is the other woman trying to make a connection with this man's children on a group family safari, and then Terry Crews's band sings blended to all of them. I just don't. It's very funny to me.
It's very specific, very niche.
Do you have another one you'd like to hit?
Yeah, what was really funny to me, I promised Jasmine while we were watching the movie that I wouldn't just like hop on about every single little thing.
I never asked you to do that.
No, you didn't. I just censored myself.
You can just go on and on about how they messed up South Africa.
I know it's annoying to listen to, but the one thing I will bring up is the fact that they're on this little boat, very beautiful in the evening, and Jim is all alone on the boat, and then he starts freaking out because he sees a crocodile in the water. And then one of the guys who works at the resort pops up and he's like, "No, that's fake, you silly man. Ha ha ha." But one of the big things in Sun City is that there are actually real crocodiles. Obviously, they're not putting you on a boat where the crocodiles are, but you literally can go watch the crocodiles being fed. Like, that's a big tourist attraction. Of all the things, there are actually crocodiles.
Perfect. Yep, that sounds right.
That was really funny. And one more animal thing, there's this whole thing about gorillas, or was it baboons?
It was both. They said both.
But the gorillas, there are no gorillas in South Africa. There's also no malaria in sub-Saharan Africa, where South Africa is, in case there are people who don't know that geography.
No, that's so funny. It's an entire continent.
It's massive.
I don't know enough, so I wouldn't be able to speak knowledgeably about any of that, obviously, but I do understand one thing, which is that it's a big continent, and if I were going to make a film based in any part of it, I would have done a little bit of that research.
I just find it so interesting as well that often Americans get so worked up about how different America is, like by state, which is true. It's a very big country. A lot of the states have a unique identity and culture, but it's still all one country. There is a shared culture in that way. But a freaking continent is blended together with like 54 countries in Africa. So that's a lot.
Yeah, that's more than I even think I would have guessed.
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's a massive, massive, massive continent.
Wild.
But anyway. Yeah.
There is so much cool content to choosing to have an African safari be the backdrop of this blended family vacation. So, like, I get that. But you have to do the research. Like, it is really fun that they can ride an ostrich in a scene. It is really fun that they can parasail and see giraffes running. And all of that stuff is beautiful and interesting and makes for good footage. But they just didn't take enough care, which is wild to me. Because if you can afford Shaq, you can afford a dramaturg. So I just don't...
Or just a local consultant, even.
I don't understand.
It's also not unique to this movie, lack of research in representing any part of Africa.
But it's just weirdly lazy.
Yeah.
And not insurmountable. A Tourist Guide to Love took what appeared to be a lot of care into making it authentic about a single country.
I think that's also what made it so frustrating, is that we've covered A Tourist Guide to Love. Obviously, neither of us have actually been there, so we can't speak with authority on how accurate it was, but it felt like it was. It felt like it was also handled a bit more tenderly.
There's a lot of specificity.
Yes, and there is a way to have humor and comedy in cultural differences without making a caricature and a mockery out of the local population, you know. And then there were also little things, like the fact that we say petrol here instead of gas. Now, I do understand it's for an American audience, but you have Jim's character later on saying gas.
Yeah.
So even just that representation of how that interaction would be isn't done properly.
And there's literally no person in this country who would hear that and not be able to make the connection. At least I don't think so. And if there is somebody, I am really sorry that you never go anywhere besides your hometown. But like, that's just pretty common.
Yeah, and not exclusively to South Africa. We're not the only place that calls it petrol.
Truly. I know people who would be annoyed at somebody saying that because some people get weirdly nationalistic over the use of certain words, but still, you know what that meant. Like...
Anyway.
I know we're bashing a lot of these silly, weird things. I do want to say, before we move on, the moments that the film decided to lean into sincerity and sweetness were really lovely.
So lovely.
They really nailed those scenes.
Some of my favorite scenes was between Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler's youngest daughter.
Yeah.
They really touched my heart. It was so sweet. It felt so intimate.
Yeah. So lovely.
Like, it started with humor, which was so nice, when Lauren takes the little girl to the loo and she's like, oh, daddy wipes a bit too hard sometimes. He's a good daddy. He just doesn't have a vagina. And then when she sees how he made her up as a kitty cat, she's like, he's a bad daddy.
It's all very adorable. I like her scenes with the oldest daughter as well. I like how sweet they were to the middle child as she navigates the loss of the mother and keeps putting her in different places with the family.
Oh, that must be so hard.
Yeah. And I even really loved Adam Sandler teaching the kids how to hit a ball with a bat and how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cute. Like, yeah, it was a little more intense, a little less sweetness. But
there was care there.
Yeah. It was a guy being, you know, who he is and trying to be emotionally available for the boys.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
It was showing care. It was being present, taking an interest, which is all the things we see their dad not doing. So that was really lovely to see him supporting them in that way. And it pays off so nicely at the end when he runs to the youngest son's baseball game and is like coaching him from the side and encouraging him to run to him. Like, it's really sweet. It's really a romance between the whole families. And I felt like they took time in that regard to develop the characters, to develop the relationships.
Yeah, I thought it was super nice. And I think that those are really, really redeeming over the course of this film.
Another fun shenanigan that I have before we move on is after the disastrous blind date, they both meet up again at the pharmacy.
Oh, I love the pharmacy
Jim is looking for...
scene.
Yes, it's so good. Where Jim is looking for tampons for his eldest daughter and
Drew Barrymore is looking for the
his
same
son's
centerfold. The same nudie magazine centerfold that she had just previously ripped up.
She was so disturbed by seeing that her son had put his babysitter's face on the body of a model in this nudie magazine.
Unhinged. That was also one of my favorite quotes in the film. Jim literally sees it and goes, oh, centerfolds? Not the internet? Old school, I like it.
Especially because you and I in between were like, oh, not the internet.
You had just finished saying that.
Yeah.
So funny.
So they meet each other and they have a fun exchange and they decide that they're going to switch who pays for what.
Yeah.
It's all working out and then Jim fully throws Lauren under the bus because he panics. Lauren's looking at him, mouthing like, what are you doing?
I also just love that both he and then the woman at the register both acknowledge, what a progressive mom.
And how they help each other, because he asks if she has any remnants of the centerfold left.
Oh
and
my
she pulls out
gosh,
this
it's so funny.
Frankenstein thing. And he's like recognizing which magazine she must get, because he's saying how it's folded and where it's stapled. Oh, and also because I own the copy of this magazine.
Yeah, I love that he just lied about it. I was like, how do you know the staples? Oh, yeah, okay, you just have this one already.
And then she helps him with the tampons.
That was so funny.
That was very funny.
Thank God she got that girl the Playtex Sports instead. That was going to be a real rough time.
It would have been savage. She's like, this is for a slightly bigger house that your daughter doesn't have. And he's like, I don't understand. Wait, I do understand.
So good.
Shout out to my dad, who has been buying me feminine hygiene products since I was a teenager and hasn't ever batted an eye over the whole thing.
That's so nice.
Yeah. He'll sometimes text and be like, send me a picture again, I forgot.
That's fine.
He's always been chilled about it.
All right, I think that brings us to a
Fun Fab
Fail. Man, I'm on the struggle bus trying to decide.
It's not quite a fail for me.
Yeah.
Even though I had a lot of issues with accurate representation of South Africa as a whole, which was infuriating, but like I can park it because that's like Hollywood as a whole.
And it's not quite fun for me.
No,
because
it's not fun.
They really messed up the edit and they really needed to par down the script before they even started filming in the first place.
There was too much screen time when it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Even though I could see it was written to be funny.
And it was close. I think they could have gotten the joke nugget out of all of those scenes. They just didn't quite get there.
They could have gotten me to laugh, because when I think about it, I'd be like, that was funny, but I'm not laughing.
That was good writing.
Yeah.
And I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be a fine.
Yeah. And I'm also not going to watch this film again.
No.
There were moments that I enjoyed, like especially the moments between the other parent and the kids.
Yeah.
And obviously Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler have amazing chemistry, but I mean, I can just revisit one of the other two rom-coms that they've starred in together.
Yep.
So,
it's fine.
it's fine.
I really think that if somebody wanted to become a screenwriter or involved in the editing of films or anything like that, this might be the perfect film to watch to get an idea of how to take a really great core and mess it up in a bunch of tiny little ways that lead to something not good.
Because the premise itself is super fun. You have all the elements there.
Yeah, it was so close to being great.
But it just didn't do it for me personally. It will be interesting to hear from everyone else how you felt about this. In terms of ranking the Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler rom-com films, this is my least favorite.
Yeah.
Wedding Singer is my most favorite.
Yeah, that one was so good.
And I think that's also the thing, because you can see what's possible between these two actors.
The jokes in that one are way dumber.
Oh, absolutely.
Way more potty humor, way more of his crazy bullshit that he got famous from. And yet, because it was tight, it still is a better film. He could have done more stupid jokes. These were smarter jokes. These were well-written jokes. There was a lot of great construction that then just still didn't reach the finish line.
Yep.
And just too much time on all of the kids' side stories. I love all of them. They just needed to be tighter.
Yeah, you're right, because I feel that even though I was complimenting the relationships with the kids, I missed getting more of the relationship developing between Lauren and Jim.
Yeah.
I could have used a montage between the two of them, honestly.
Yeah.
I just needed a little bit more time with them.
The weird, uncomfortable massage scene was not enough.
No, we needed a little bit more, because it felt very much like when they got together, it's more because of how much the kids love you.
It doesn't just feel like that. When he does the grand romantic gesture, the first thing he says at the table is, I love your children.
And you're a great mom
to
my kids.
And that is true. And that is something to love about another person, that they fit into your family.
Absolutely.
But we need more.
Yeah.
So close, so close. Naming your child ESPN.
Oh my goodness.
And calling her Espen is a really funny joke. So many good jokes.
I would love to know if they spell it like that.
Oh, I looked up the characters, and yes.
They do?
Yep.
That's hilarious. Also, this poor child, but as a joke, that's hilarious.
Hilarious.
This poor child.
So yeah, it's just so unfortunate that they just tried to do a little too much and they didn't need to.
Well,
that brings us to
our favorite section.
Give me the cheese, please. All right.
Okay.
So excited.
Also, bearing in mind, we had about half an hour to come up with cheeses.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be fine. Ready?
3, 2, 1. 2-day-old
Cheese
broccoli
sticks.
cheese salad.
Ooh. Okay. I went first last time, right?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll go first.
we're getting better at
We're
this.
doing it. It's all gonna fall to shit. Broccoli cheese salad. That's 2 days old. It wasn't made when you needed it to be made by. You thought you were saving time by pre-making the salad. No, that was wrong. You should have done it day of.
Some things can't be pre-made.
Yeah. And so while there's still really good parts to the salad, you kind of spent picking it apart, so you can't enjoy it as a whole. And it's just ultimately not something that you're going to revisit, even though you can see what the vision was with the broccoli cheese salad. And it's pretty delightful. It's fresh, creamy, good for you.
I don't think I even know what that is.
Oh, it's like you basically blend, broccoli. Like you put it in a food processor, really fine, and then you add mayo, and you can add corn and red onion and cheese as well to it. You can do cranberries or you can do bacon. It's really yum, actually.
Oh.
But it has to be eaten fresh because of all the components, the way it comes together. It just gets like a little bit watery because of the moisture in the broccoli, and then you're dealing with the mayo and it starts to separate a little bit. It's still okay maybe a day later.
Yeah.
But 2 days later, forget about it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So when you're dishing it, like you can pick out good parts still, but texturally, it's just not enjoyable anymore because you don't get that crunchiness. Good salad.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm looking at pictures.
Highly recommend.
I love broccoli.
Oh, I love broccoli too. It's great. Just not 2 days old. So it's like you have Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. You have cheese, you have broccoli. Like, what's not to love? Blends well together. There are plenty of dishes with broccoli and cheese together that's really good. Like
Yeah.
baked broccoli in a white sauce with some cheese on top. Are you kidding me?
Broccoli with just a good old-fashioned cheese sauce in general.
Broccoli soup with some Parmesan grated on top.
Yes. All good.
All good stuff. But the way it was brought together in this 2-day-old broccoli cheese salad.
So sad.
Not Ayoba. Not the best. Well, tell me about these cheese sticks.
All right, so I chose a regular old cheese stick. Not a string cheese, not a mozzarella stick, cheese stick.
Just a stickle cheese.
Stick-o mozz, because we already have this built-in joke for mozzarella sticks throughout the course of the film, but this movie doesn't get to have marinara. It's not good enough for marinara.
But they do that for you.
They'll put it on the side. They'll do that for me here. And it also doesn't get to be a string cheese because string cheese is filled with too much whimsy. And this is very clearly an Adam Sandler who is more of an adult. Less of those potty jokes. More sophisticated humor. Only slightly, but we're growing up. We're not going to eat a string cheese and pull it apart. I'm going to have myself a low-fat cheese stick protein snack that I eat in bites like an efficient grown human.
Like an adult.
Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, it just felt a little plain. Like, it's fine. It hits some good macros for the day if I'm low on proteins and fats and I ate too many carbs.
That's so clinical.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about this. Like, here's so many good things, and I'm just trying to get to the point here. And this film just couldn't get to the point fast enough half the time, and it was the saddest part about it.
Yeah.
So it has to be just a regular old cheese stick. Yeah.
Just nutrients.
Yeah.
Check.
Check, check, check. Well,
there you have it.
that was our discussion of Blended.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then,
I L-word you too. Bye.
Bye.
So of all the heinous things that they got wrong about South Africa, what is the worst one?
That's really hard to say. I don't know. What they did get right was the beautiful clothes. Do you know something that I wish they had is a marimba band? That would have been so much fun.
Aw.
Oh, that's a real missed opportunity.
We'll post marimba bands after the episode.
Yeah.